like it. Um, so welcome again tonight, gentlemen and ladies, in week two. So we're gonna look to try and go over interference, obstruction, or nothing. Um, One of the other pieces that's in the preseason guide is working the wedge around the plate. So we have some videos for that, videos on interference, obstruction. Um, and I'm going to try something new here that I discovered that we can do polls and quizzes. Um, so what I'm going to ask everybody to do first off is I'm going to get uh, this up on the screen. If everybody could take a picture of that QR code uh, on
Mhm.
your phones, and that will give you what the poll will be. Basically, it's just three questions. There's three possible answers to the videos once we show the videos, and it's going to be interference, obstruction, or nothing. Get a poll, see what everybody thinks, and then we'll discuss after that when we have a sense as to what people are thinking it is. So,
Dan or Dave's, God, sorry, either. I scanned it. It says, yeah, the poll has ended.
okay, yeah, and then what will happen is I can restart it. Um, so when I restart it, it'll reset it. Hopefully, that's the plan
When
anyway.
you ask a question,
Say it again.
when you ask a question and you'll restart it or reset it.
Yeah, after we've gotten the results, then I can reset and restart the poll.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, like I say, we'll see how it works. This first time using it, so technology is a wonderful thing when it does work. So hopefully everybody's had the opportunity to get that. And I just need to find what I'm looking for. Can everybody see the screen, or do I have stuff blocking it here?
No, I can see it. Are you going to show some videos as we go type thing, or you want to show them at the end?
Well, you have some embedded in here, so
Okay.
I'm going to try and see if they'll link up.
Okay.
And is this the right? Not sure if this is the right one. Hang on. Stop sharing that and go back to. This is the one I want. Does that look great to you, Dan?
I can't see it right now.
Okay.
Maybe share it.
Again, technology is wonderful when it works. Sorry, guys. Not totally tech savvy here, obviously.
While he's finding that, for some of you who were at the Barrington Clinic, we talked about this in the level 2 class. We're hopefully be able to get a little more deeper and, like David said, show some videos. But interference and obstruction are a huge part of our game, as you guys know. And we all just need to be ready to call it. It is a judgment call, usually. So if it's not obvious, you're going to have to decide if it was enough to, the magic words hinder, impede, right? Confuse. And a lot of that comes with pre-pitch planning, right? So before every pitch, I'm thinking to myself, the word ion or the acronym ion, especially with runners on base, that we could have something happen and we just need to be willing to call that. So as you think of ideas, put them in the chat. If there's a certain type of interference you want to make sure we talk about tonight, we probably have about a half hour, Dave, for this?
We got an hour and a half to 2 hours to go over everything we want. So
an hour and a half. Okay. So if there's some type of interference that you are wanting to discuss, or you had a play last year or in the dome sometime recently, think about that. You can put it in the chat or hold on to it, and then we can do questions and answers as well. He's still finding that, so hopefully you guys have your rule book handy. I will point out table 5.1 on page 45 in this year's rule book is very good to know. And it goes on for 3 pages. So both immediate dead ball and delayed dead ball, and that's where you'll find your interference and obstruction. Keep that handy with you as you're seeing plays on the field or wondering, what do I do with the retired runner interference? What do I do with an illegal slide? Coach's interference, right? We have that. A coach says, oh, I don't have to leave the coach's box, that type of thing, right? So, or a player says, I don't have to leave the batter's box. Well, sometimes you do. So as umpires, we need to be ready for that.
we got it up now.
I can see your desktop. I can see your files.
We have there's a PowerPoint up now.
I don't see it. Anybody else see it? Maybe you have
No,
to.
I don't see it either.
Maybe you have to double click that, Dave.
All right. Well, I thought I had, but okay.
Well, he'll bring that up.
I'll get it.
No, you're good. So let's talk. So ion, right, is interference. We all know that. So what is interference, right? I'll just read the definition. It's an act, physical or verbal, by the offense at bat who illegally impedes, hinders, or confuses any fielder, or when any runner creates malicious contact with any fielder with or without the ball in or out of the baseline. That's definition 231.1, if you don't know that one. 231-1, right? So we talk about interference. You'll have coaches who won't use the right terminology. We need to use the right terminology. We need to know the words impedes, hinders, confuses. So, what are our mechanics? Jimmy Nallen, I'm going to ask you, when you see interference, go ahead and take yourself off mute. When you see interference, what do you do? What's the first thing you do? Usually,
I call dead ball.
dead ball. I can see his hands are up. That's good.
Yep, dead ball.
Yep.
Hands
That's
up.
the first thing we do. Yes.
And then, well, I look at if there's multiple runners on where they're at
Okay.
as I'm viewing the play. I'll then explain who's out, which would be that runner that I kill the play for. And if I need to return runners, I do so. And then I'm waiting to see if the coach is going to come out. They have a discussion, and then I would explain my call to that coach.
That's good. Thank you for offering that. Yeah, those are the steps. Those are the mechanics, right? We know the rule, we know the penalty, but we need to know the mechanics, right? So that we're all doing it the same way and the coaches see it the same way. Very important to be loud, to be big, dead ball, high point. That's interference. I'm not trying to belittle or embarrass the runner. I'm just saying that's interference, right? Call her out. And then I always say, please return to your base, or if the runner is forced to second base, say the interference between second and third, that runner would be out, but the runner from first would be forced to second because the batter gets first base, right? So, Dave, go ahead and advance it one slide if you would.
So you can see it now.
Yep, we can see it. Thank you. So that's the definition right there. And as I mentioned in the clinic, somebody told me 15 years ago when I started umping, know the definitions, know the verbiage, because when that coach comes out all flustered, we as umpires have to stay calm, right? And use words. Coach, the runner, impeded the fielder, hindered the fielder. You start talking like that, the coaches will know that you know the rule, and it just makes our job a lot easier. So let's leave it on interference, and I'll talk about a couple. And if you guys have questions, Dave, I know you're monitoring the chat, so if you need to stop me, go ahead. But the main one that we usually see, and Jimmy did a nice job on explaining it, is runner interference. So that's rule 511F on page 44, where she impedes the fielder making the initial play on the ball, right? That's another key phrase, initial play on the ball. There'll be some interferences here that we'll talk about that aren't the initial play on the ball, and then the coach is still going to want interference, but you're going to have to explain, no, that's not the initial play. Anything in the chat right now, Dave, that we should talk about?
Yep. I was just going to say, get a question, situation, pop up on the infield. R2 is yelling, I got it, over and over to call off the fielder. What do you have?
I have verbal interference. If you know beyond a shadow of doubt and know her number, right? If it's R2, number 27, tall girl, however you want to know it. If she's yelling, I got it, I got it, I got it, to try to confuse that fielder, or I've had that before where they clap their hands as they run by. First of all, that's Bush League, if you ask me. So there needs to be a penalty, right? And same mechanics, right? Even if she catches that ball, it's in high school, it's a dead ball. And that runner who kept yelling, I got it, or clapped in front of the fielder, is out, and other runners return. Any discussion on that one?
You said about, seeing that a lot of times in travel ball, especially in the dugouts, and the same applies in the dugout area, especially if they're in the first base dugout, and the first baseman's going over to make the play, and they're
Yep.
trying to call her off or whatnot, yeah, that's definitely, you know, we've got interference on the offense for that.
Yeah, Sam, that would be immediate dead ball. That's what our rule states for this type of interference. Yeah, so that's a good question. Any other ones right now? I'm going to go through a list, guys, of kind of the top interferences. There's a lot in the book. If I don't get to yours and you want to bring something up, go ahead and do that. Here's one. Here's a illegal slide, right? We don't really think of that. But on Rule 8713, which is on page 71, we have a legal slide. So in order to have an illegal slide, we need to know what a legal slide is. Anybody want to take a guess at what a legal slide is? What makes a slide legal?
Well, first of all, you have to slide to the base,
Okay.
right? There, you can't roll into the base. You can't have your cleats above or at the knee or higher. Those would be a few of the things that I can think of that would
Okay.
make it.
And you can't slide through the base.
Through the base, yeah.
Yep. Can you go head first?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Especially in summer ball, you'll have coaches say, "Oh, she went head first," especially like lower levels, right? But you can go head first. The definition for legal slide is on page 29, 251, and then right below it is illegal slide. So it's important that we know all this. I'll just talk about the illegal slide because you guys got most of them on the legal. An illegal slide would be a runner who uses a rolling or cross body slide. That could also become malicious contact if you feel it was done that way. If she raises her leg higher than the knee, she goes beyond the base, as Vince said, or she slashes or kicks the fielder with either leg, or if you believe she's trying to injure the fielder. So those are illegal slides. We need to be aware of those because unfortunately they do happen in our sports. And if you're not pre-pitch planning that or thinking, okay, here comes the slide, I got to watch this all the way through, especially like in a rivalry game. You guys know which teams don't like each other. If you take your eye off that and you start, maybe say it's a play at second and you turn to first to call the batter runner at first and you miss something there, it's going to hurt. And the other thing I would say on that, when you have a slide into second, the plate umpire can help watch that as the base umpire does eventually have to turn and call that play at first. Does that make sense? So when I think about illegal slides and kind of how you, officiate those, let's see where it would be. I've got 713 on page 71. And basically, because it was an illegal slide, we have the ball is dead and the runner is out. And then every other runner must return. So let's say she does an illegal, let's say there's a runner at first and third, right? And she's coming in. For some reason, the shortstop doesn't tag the base. So she's not out yet, but she's going to tag her. And the girl raises her foot, it kind of spikes her on the thigh, right? That's a dead ball, right? I'm putting everybody back. So that runner who would have scored is back. The girl who made the interference at second is out. She was coming from first base and the batter runner gets first. Different than a retired runner. We'll talk about a retired runner soon, but be ready for the illegal slides. Any questions on that one?
So how about illegal slide? There's a runner in first base and the batter, shortstop get it. Second, the runner from first base already out, but make a legal strike. Is that a legal slide? So is that a double play for the first base or not?
Well, so if you had just a runner on first, okay, and she slides in,
It's a
is that
double
what you
play.
have, or do you have first and third?
It's a possible double play. It's only runner in first, and there's the batter.
Yep. So the shortstop catches the ball, tags second. So now that the runner who's sliding in is out, but she illegally slides into the shortstop. Is that correct?
It's a double play, so she doesn't have to tag. So step on the second base,
Yep.
try to throw to first base for a double play, but she's not able to throw because she got hit for a legal strike. So is that considered double play or the first?
Well, there would be, because that would be a retired runner. So let's talk about the retired runner, because the shortstop tags second base on the force, right?
Mhm.
Now that runner sliding into second is retired, meaning she's either out, which she is, or another example of a retired runner is somebody who has scored. But once that happens, who's out? The runner closest to home. And in this case, with nobody on except the runner at first, it would be the batter coming towards first. So yes, you would have a double play. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
A quick question on the return to base. These slides can happen well into the play.
Okay.
So let's say you got a illegal slide at second. There was a runner at second. She's rounded third and is heading home. Called a legal slide. Does she go back to third, or does she go back to where she started at second base?
So at the time of the interference, now was the runner sliding into second? Was she already out? Did she become a retired runner before the interference?
Oh, you call it an illegal slide. Let's say it's a runner on second and she's single left field, and the runner tries to stretch it into a double. Okay, so she slides illegally at second base. We call it a legal slide. She's out. The runner started on second is almost home. You said return her to base. She returned to second, or where she started the play?
No, so I would, at the time of the interference, I would put her on third. I wouldn't
Okay.
let her score.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's sometimes it's the timing of the return to base that.
Yes. No, you're right. And that's like Jim mentioned earlier, we have to be aware, both of us, both partners have to be aware where the runners are. Not only for interference, but like overthrows, right? We play on a lot of fields that are open down the first and third base lines, right? There's no fence. So that ball gets thrown, we need to know where the runners are so we can put them where they should be.
So in that case, it's where she was, the last base that she achieved when the dead ball was called.
When the interference, yes, at the time of the interference, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. We talked about retired runner. The runner closest to home is out, right? So you're going to have coach comes out on that one, because you're taking a run off the base if the girl was rounding third to go home, but she's the closest runner home, so she's out because of the retired runner. Sometimes it's because of the batter who strikes out, right? We have a batter at the plate, say first and third, right? She strikes out, the girl steals second. When she steps across the plate and interferes with the catcher, that's retired runner interference, because she's a batter runner. And now you call the girl out from third going home because she's the closest to home. Retired runner, just so you guys know, is on page 72, 8716C. Page 72, 8716C. We talked a little bit about running lane during the clinic. So we have a batter runner outside the running lane. Who's going to have the best look at that? Usually the plate umpire. That's why it's important that when a runner is going up the first base line, especially on a bunt, that we trail her on the first base line and don't commit to go to third base too soon, right? we got to be able to see that batter runner. One, did she make it to the running lane? Is she more than 30 feet away from home plate? If she's not, then the running lane isn't in effect yet. But as soon as it is, she needs to get in that lane. And if she doesn't, and we feel that hindered the fielder at first base, usually in the case of a bunt, the second baseman's covering, we feel that hindered or impeded the catch of the ball, dead ball immediately, right? We got runner lane interference. The other runners are going back at the time of that interference. The only thing that would make that different is two things. One, if the catcher doesn't throw it, we never have interference. Or two, if nobody's covering first base. And I had that happen where a second baseman decided not to go cover. So there's nobody at first. First baseman fields the bunt, wheels around, throws it, drills the kid in the back. And yes, she was not in the running lane. But guess what? I got nothing because nobody's there to receive the throw. So a lot goes into this that we have to be aware of. Any questions on that? Running lane interference. Running lane is on page 64, 8-2-6, 826, page 64.
Hey, Dan, can you talk about setup, the defensive player setup in an obstruction?
Yeah,
well, previously they were saying, I know a couple of years ago they were saying that no straddling of the bases anymore. You know what I mean? And that seems to have gone away now.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I can go to obstruction. Do you guys want to stay on interference for a little bit and do a couple more? Or do you want to go right to obstruction? Dave, how are we doing on time?
Dude, it's all you. It's like 7:30.
Okay,
let's finish interference first.
Yeah, go back to the other definition, if you would, please.
See if I can do that without messing it up. Hey, how about that?
Yay, you must be from Pittsburgh. All right. So I want to talk about...
Take it easy, Dan. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Don't give me too much credit yet.
And we will get into obstruction because that's a huge part of our game. But let's finish some of these interference ones. You guys know about the batter runner retreating to home on their way to first base to avoid a tag. That's rule 825, page 64. 825, page 64. So basically what that says, let's say there's a runner at second and the batter bunts and she wants to get her over to third. So she starts going down first base line. First baseman gets the ball. She's coming to tag her. The runner can stop. The batter runner can stop and make her come tag her. What she cannot do is take a step towards home plate. So again, both of us need to kind of watch that if possible. Even the base guy might have a better angle than the plate guy, but mainly that's the plate's call. If she steps back, it's dead ball immediately. We got interference for retreating to home plate is how you would adjudicate that. And then put that runner back where the base that she had at the time of the interference. So if she hadn't made it to third base yet, she's going back to second. Again, you'll have a coach come out, just explain the rule. Coach, she retreated. She took a step back towards home plate. No, she just stopped. No, coach, I was watching. She took a full step in retreat back towards home plate. That's interference by definition, and that's the ruling. Let's talk about foul balls, right? Because we have a small field, 60-foot bases, and a lot of times we don't have a lot of foul territory. So you're going to have interference on foul balls. On a foul fly, 87-10B, page 71. I'm just going to read that so you guys can see that. 87-10B. If the runner interferes with a fielder attempting to field a fly ball over foul territory. So usually where this will happen will be at third base, right? You got a little foul ball just barely off third base. It's in foul territory. The runner at third doesn't realize where the ball is, and she runs into that third baseman who's going over to catch that. It's an immediate dead ball. That runner is out, and we now have a foul ball on the batter. That makes sense. You may have that on a coach's a coach also. Let's say no runners on, same foul ball by third base. That third base coach doesn't vacate the area. The rule says she or he has to vacate the area. She just stands there. Third baseman runs into her. Okay. There's no runner on, but guess what? Now the batter's out. So again, the coach is going to be probably a little upset. Explain the rule to them. Coach, that's interference. You need to vacate that area. So those are a couple of the foul balls that you'll see. Pre-pitch plan that, just especially with somebody at third, knowing that that runner at third may not know where the ball's hit and may interfere with your fielder. Anything in the chat box on interference, Dave?
Nothing right now.
Okay. Here's a good one. Spectator
Hey,
interference.
Let me ask for something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
If the runner is standing on third base and does not vacate the base, and the third baseman is running that way and interferes with her, is that interference?
No, that's nothing. As long as she's on the base and does not intentionally interfere, doesn't chicken wing her, doesn't stick her foot out, doesn't say anything, but she's on the base where she should be. She has a right to that base.
Okay.
So that would be nothing.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Yeah, the player standing on the base does not have to get out of the way because they have legally obtained that base. However, if you get a coach, a third base coach, and they don't move, now you do have coach's interference. They have to vacate and make room for the player.
Correct.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I asked for umpires right here, and we're divided how we call this. So it happened to my travel ball. It's a full it's a full base. It's a batted hit the runner in third base, and the third base stayed in the plate on the base. Is that interference?
No, say it again.
The bat, a swing bat, the ball hit to the third base on in a fair territory. Is that interference for runner interference?
No, the runner's on the base.
Is on the base.
No. It bounces off her. Again, I got nothing. It's we talk about interference, dead ball, obstruction, left hand out. I know you guys can't see me sticking my arm all the way out, or nothing. I got her on the base. She gets hit with the ball as long as it's not intentional. She doesn't try to get hit by the ball, doesn't reach out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you can call her out for being on that base. And you just play if it's a fair ball, she's on the base, and you deem it, was fair. If she's on the base but kind of maybe stepping towards foul territory, as a plate umpire, you see the ball hit her. Then I don't have anything but way of a foul ball because it's left of the line, right? Left of the base. Does that make sense?
Correct. So this is play on.
Correct. It's just play on, and you're going to have people going, it hit her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she was on the base, coach.
Mm-hmm.
She's allowed to be on the base as long as it's not intentional interference.
Okay. Thank you.
On travel ball, Dan, it's if you're on the base, if the ball hits you on travel ball, you're out.
No, not in softball.
Yeah. And I just say it's not, but in U-Trip and travel ball, they play it as if a player's on the base and they get hit by the ball, then you're out.
Well, I would respectfully disagree with that, and I wouldn't call her out. I don't care what federation I'm working because I don't believe that that's how it should be called. I don't think that's the rule either. I think we could find a rule that would say that there would be no interference. Spectator interference. Let's look at, if you have your rule book, page 65, 8-2.12. So we had mentioned the open sidelines that we have. A lot of our fields, right? We have a home run fence, maybe, but we don't have the first base or third base fence. So we're going to have potential for a spectator or a spectator reaching over, maybe a home run ball, right? If you got a lot of fans there, big game, you maybe got some high school kids down the left field line and they're in home run territory and there comes the ball and somebody reaches over, you know, what do you do? Article 12, 8-2-12, page 65. If the spectator reaches into the field of play and interferes with the fielder's opportunity to catch the fly ball, okay, immediate dead ball, okay, and the batter runner is out. If there's somebody going to catch that ball, the spectator reaches into the field of play and interferes with the opportunity to catch it. That's an immediate dead ball, and we're calling that batter runner out. And then we get to award the bases in the umpire's judgment that they would have reached had the interference not occurred. So again, that's where judgment comes in. You may think deep fly ball to left field. There's one out, runner on third. Somebody reaches over the home run fence, touches the ball. You don't think it would have been a home run. They're hanging over the fence in the field of play. Left fielder's right there. Dead ball. I've got an out. But now you get to award that runner if you believe that she would have tagged up and gotten home. It's a judgment. You don't have to. It's not automatic. But spectator interference can cause a lot of problems. So we need to be aware of that. Any questions on spectator interference? Where I see that mainly is in open fields. Let's say there's a shot down the first base line and it kind of hooks foul after it's fair. And the girl, gets to first and the fan reaches over and grabs it. The girl was already heading to second. I'm going to give her a double on that. If it's far enough in the outfield and it becomes a spectator interference. For whatever reason, the spectator may have thought it was foul. They reach over and touch the ball. We have to adjudicate that, right? Dead ball, right? Now we get to put the runners where we want. Nobody's out on that particular play because it wasn't a fly ball.
And Dan, that rule just deals with field of play, not foul balls necessarily.
Yeah, I think that again, Dan, it becomes a judgment. If you're the plate guy and you're looking down the line, or you're able to get to the foul or the out of play fence or line, and hopefully you guys are able to, and you see somebody take a step back into foul territory and touch the ball, or into dead ball territory and touch the ball, and the fielder was over there, it's our judgment if we think that interfered with the fielder, right? Some coaches will say, "Oh, a fan touched it, she's out." No, there has to be interference. So as arbiters, we have to say, yes, that impeded the fielder from catching that ball.
But what's the remedy if you have interference on a foul ball? You can't move the runners. It's foul ball.
No, but you could have an out.
Okay, so the batter's out.
Batter's out, yeah.
Regardless
if you deem it was interference.
Regardless of who the fan was.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's friend or foe, and we're not there to determine friend or foe. I mean,
okay, all right.
Who knows?
All right, thank you.
Let's see. We talked a little bit about batter's interference as far as if it was a retired batter, but let's say it's not. Let's page 60, 744 talks about the batter interference. There's a couple different ones that talks about it, but I'll just read them off to you. The batter interferes with the catcher's fielding or throwing by leaning over home plate, by stepping out of the batter's box. You'll have a good coach tell their batters, stay in the box, stay still, stay in the box if they don't have to vacate the area, but like between pitches, right? As soon as she steps out of the box and she interferes with the catcher, maybe trying to throw somebody out at third, we could have interference. Or by making any movement which hinders action at home plate, or the catcher's attempt to play on a runner, and by failing to vacate a congested area. This is batter interference. The ball is dead immediately. Runners must return to the last base touched at the time of the interference. And it gives a reference 8-7-10. So we have had, Dave and I actually had a game where the batter stayed in the box. She didn't do anything. She just had a bat on her shoulder. Girl stole third. Catcher throws the ball, goes off the batter's helmet, doink, dribbles down the third baseline. The girl who stole third got up, touched third, and came home. And Dave, as a play guy, said nothing. I got nothing there because there was no interference by the batter. She was in the box. She was still. She didn't reach the bat out and try to mess with the catcher. She just had the bat on her shoulder. Coach came out. You know, where's the interference? There's no interference. The catcher needs to step around that, step back and throw instead of trying to throw through the batter if she's not moving in the box. Does that make sense?
Now, that same situation, had the batter just moved herself backwards a half step or whatever, like she was moving out of the box after the pitch, and then that throw was made and contact was made, now
Yep.
you have interference. But the fact that she did not move was what nullified any interference on that. Just
Yep.
play on.
I agree. Anything in the chat box? I think Sam just put something up there, Dave.
I was just going to put that out there. Question
Okay.
is it smart to indicate with the safe sign as soon as possible that there's nothing? Yes. And we had this discussion this past weekend. If you're the base umpire and you're in C slot and you got a runner going from second to third and crosses in front of the shortstop, but there's like 5 feet or 4 feet between the two of them, to you it's obvious that there's nothing there. But to the bench, to the coaches that are in the dugouts, it's not that clear to them. So even though it's quite obvious there's nothing, always give a safe sign. You definitely want to do it if it's a real close positioning, but even whenever there's a large gap, still give that safe sign because that shows that you're in the game, you're watching the game, you're paying attention to what your area of responsibility is. And again, it's a great optic for all the coaches, the other players, the fans, scoreboard, the scoreboard, whatever. So try and make it a habit that they have that crisscross, put the safe sign out.
Yep. All right. I got one more interference I want to talk about, and then we can answer any questions. So umpire interference, right? Umpire interference does happen. It can happen in field of play. We're going to talk about the umpire and catcher because we have a good relationship there, right? Here's what happens if an umpire gets hit in the field of play. This is Rule 5.1.1F1, page 44. 5.1.1F1, page 44. If the umpire is in front of the batter, I'm not really sure why, but you might be. Let's say you're over in the B slot by second, and the second baseman's playing deep, and there's a shot and you can't get out of the way, and she happens to be behind you where she could have made a play, that's going to be a dead ball. Okay. And the batter gets first base. Nobody's out. Others return. And unfortunately, as an umpire, you got to eat that, and you're not going to have a happy coach one way or the other. Okay. if you're behind the fielder, like again, let's take that second baseman, but you decide to play back, and you really should see where they're at and try to play behind them a little bit. She tries for the ball, misses it, and then it hits your foot. That's a nothing, right? And if you want to come up and give a safe sign, hey, you saw that the fielder was in front. It did hit my foot. I got nothing, meaning play on. That would be a good time to use the safe sign, because a coach may see that and think, oh, it's umpire interference. So it matters where the fielders are, in front of us or behind us. Any questions on that type of umpire interference? The more common umpire
For the
interference.
asking,
Oh,
real
go
quick,
ahead.
Dan, for the
Yeah, go ahead.
asking, if she's still standing in the box, okay, let's say she was at the front side of the box and, the catcher gets ready to throw to third. And I mean, she's still in the box, but let's say she steps back towards home plate. Would you still call that interference, even though she's still in the box? Like, she did move.
Yeah, and that's a good question. It becomes judgment. I probably would, unless that's her routine. I mean, she's, still in the box, but once she moves into the catcher's throwing lane, because the catcher had an open lane until she moved, then yes, I would probably have interference there.
Yeah.
David, anything?
I was going to say, as long as there's movement by the batter,
Yeah.
you're going to have interference. If you don't have any movement, then, like Dan said, the catcher needs to move to make her play. She can't throw through a runner who's standing still, or through a batter who's standing still. The movement is what can cause the deflection, in the impediment of the throw, or hindering the throw.
Right.
If they're not moving, they're not hindering or impeding. They're a player in their position.
Yep.
Okay, one last question, and then I'll stop.
No, go ahead.
No, you won't.
Good question.
Runner coming from third, you got a steal coming home, batter
Yeah.
still in the box. How soon does she have to move out of that box to not impede the runner and get called out for interfering with the runner?
How soon? You mean the batter interfering with, like, the catcher or pitcher making the play?
Yes, interfering, like,
Yeah.
the batter or the runner on third decides to take off and steal home plate.
Yep.
The batter's still in the box. How soon? I mean, does she
Yeah,
have to get out of the box immediately, or can she stand there and then move out of the way at the last second?
Yeah, the rule says they have to vacate the area. It doesn't say, within 2 seconds, 10 seconds, right? So it becomes a judgment call. I have had where kids haven't moved at all. They either forgot somebody was on third, and they get hit with a ball tossed by the catcher. That's an easy one, right? That's interference.
Yeah.
So if she waits too long and you feel that she, again, what are our words? Impede, hinder, confuse, right? Even if she doesn't get hit with the ball, if she waits too long and confuses the pitcher who thinks there's going to be contact with that batter, you could have interference. But again, that's a judgment call. She has to vacate the area.
Okay. So let's say the ball comes in, goes towards third, hits the backstop, goes towards third baseline. Batter gets out of the box, but she's still standing there somewhat near it. Catcher goes over, picks up the ball, flips it to the pitcher, but hits the batter.
Yeah, it's interference.
Interference. Okay.
You can go to the
Where
other
she's
side.
at.
You can go to the other side, right? Most kids,
Yep.
most young kids don't know that. Most of the older kids do. So yeah, those are good questions.
I was going to say I had one last year on the first question he asked,
Okay.
which was the runner on second takes off for third, high pitch. The batter had a check swing. Catcher goes to throw behind the batter because the right-handed batter with a check swing, and the batter brought the bat back and caught the ball and deflected it over the fence. And I called that I called that interference because they brought the bat back into
I would too, Tom.
Unintentional, but they brought the bat back.
It doesn't matter, right? It can be intentional or unintentional per the definition. It's so important for kids, and hopefully that's a learning lesson for that batter to know what's going on in the game. You see your teammate run, you should just be still and be quiet, right? Get out of the way, vacate the area. So no, that's a good call.
And one
Hey-
other little
hey, Dan?
situation that I had last year as well was very similar. Pitch comes in, gets away from the catcher, goes back to the backstop, right-handed batter, runner coming in from third. The batter was not sure, got herself confused which way to go. Finally, she decides she's going to cut across the plate towards the first base dugout. As she's doing that, the pitcher's coming in to make a play because the catcher was back retrieving the ball.
Right.
The thing was, I mean, the runner crossed the plate. The pitcher was really nowhere near the plate, but I had a coach coming out asking, why isn't that interference on the batter? Because my pitcher couldn't get there. My explanation was the coach was, your pitcher was nowhere near the plate to make a play, and therefore the batter did not impede her progress because she wasn't there anyway and wasn't going to get there.
Right.
But again, you were asking before about how long you wait or how quickly do they need to get out of there. That's another thing. You know, if they're delayed and they do cut across and they do get in the way of the pitcher who's coming in to make a play, and you feel that there could have been a play, you're going to have batter interference.
And that's one of the more plays where it depends on how many outs there are about who gets called out, right? In other words, if there's 2 outs, you call interference, the batter's out, if I recall, and if there's less than 2 outs, the runner's out. Or is it the other way around?
No, the batter would always be out. If the batter is the one who creates the interference, she's out.
Okay.
Now, you might be thinking about the runner closest to home being out. That happens whenever a retired runner then interferes with the continuation of a play on another player.
Okay. All right.
If I'm understanding your question and your comment there, is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I just had the impression that there was a situation where, depending on how many outs, in other words, in some case where there's 2 outs, it's one person's called out, and less than 2 outs, the other person's called out. So that there was a scenario that was the case. So I'll look it up.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Ramon.
I don't know if this has been answered this one already. So it happens in my travel ball. I was coach. And the batter step out the box, right? And the catchers purposely try to make a contact to the batter and throw to the third base. Do we call that interference for the batter?
Yeah, that becomes a judgment there. I have actually warned catchers if they purposely make contact, because that could be a malicious contact. I had a catcher, I think it was South Elgin. She came hard at the batter who was actually just standing in the box. She wasn't moving, but she ran through her and then actually said, "You got to get out of my way," or something. So I'm like, "Fine, this is your warning. If I see that again, you're going to be out." A malicious contact. So in your case, you had a batter moving, right?
Right. Try to go out in the box.
Yeah. So you would need to determine, did that cause interference on the catcher, or did the catcher initiate that?
And that's why it happens multiple times, because the coaches from the other side tell their catchers to do that every time. So I did ended up talk to the umpire, like, look, I understand that the person, my batter, is getting outside, but that's a malicious conduct. That's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Correct. It could be, yes.
I mean,
without seeing the play myself, it could be. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, to take in consideration with that, okay, the batter's backing up out of the box. She's throwing the ball. She's throwing it into the dugout, or she's throwing it to third base. What's the direction she's throwing the ball? I mean, if she's throwing and it's intentionally at the batter, then I'm going to
intentionally to make a contact to the batter to get interference. So it's not like a natural act to throw the catcher throw to the third. She's intentionally going to the batter.
If it's intentional to do that, then I'm going to side with Dan. I'm going to say that's malicious contact or, unsporting behavior. And, you can give out a warning with the unsporting behavior, malicious contact, that's, you're ejected. They've ejected themselves.
Yeah, so that's why I gave a warning because I didn't want to. To me, it was in my case, it wasn't big enough, but it was getting to be big, and I wanted the coach to hear it too, because that's bush league to have your players, play through somebody else. It's like a shortstop going for a ground ball. The run from second, isn't even close to her, but she purposely goes over towards that runner, and we have to, and she doesn't have the ball yet. So guess what? Now I got obstruction on the shortstop, and they don't like that. But let's play the game right? So these are things as umpires we have to make judgment on, and sometimes it's not easy. All right, let me do Jimmy Nallen, did you have something?
Yeah, so the one that we've seen before is the runner. There's a runner at first and third. The pitch comes in, the catcher catches it, the runner's stealing the second, and then like a second later, what does the batter do? Takes a swing.
Yes.
As the catcher's trying to throw, right?
Yeah, or pulls the bat back.
Yeah, and then you got the runner coming home from third. So let's see what everybody says.
Yeah, so I would have, catchers or a batter interference there, right? So depending on how many outs there are,
and what the strikes, what the count is, right? So let's say
it depends on that.
Let's say it's a 2-2 count.
Okay, so now that batter has struck out. She's now a retired runner, right? She pulls that bat back or takes a purposely late swing, and we all know when that is. Well, that runner from third is out, right? Because that's a retired runner closest to home. That's the penalty. When the coach comes out, you just say, hey, that's what we had.
Right. And I see that every now and then.
You do. That, I see it with bunts. I see girls bunt, and then the girls steal a second, and then they pull it back, and sometimes they pull it all the way back into the catcher. Dead ball. I got batter interference. She's out. Please return to first base. Notice I say please return to first base. Right. We need to make sure that we're not heightening the tension there. Just, hey, this is the ruling. This is what we had, and please return to your base. So let me do this umpire interference with the catcher. I thought I saw something in the chat on this too, so we can talk more. But page 48, 512C, page 48, 512C. So basically, the umpire interferes with a catcher who is attempting to throw a non-batted ball. Usually happens when a girl's stealing, right? To me, it's happened with a lefty until I learned how to catch for lefties. So she kind of surprises you with a long cock of the arm, hits your mask. She still gets the ball off. In my case, she threw the girl out. So my arm came up. This is the one interference that's not immediate dead ball. When the ump interferes with the catcher's throw, it's a delayed dead ball, right? So it's a left arm out, right? Delayed dead ball. Let the play happen. If she gets thrown out at that base, the initial base that she's trying to steal, and the catcher is able to still throw her out, she's out. If not, then it's dead ball. Umpire interference. You have to announce it and put the runners back. Again, you'll feel a little embarrassed by that, but that's the game, and you got to call it, because if you don't call it and somebody saw that, or the catcher says, I hit his mask, or I tripped on his foot, or whatever it might be, that's not good for us, right? We want to make sure we're calling a fair game, and if we get in the way, it happens. We need to make that ruling. Any questions on that one? Somebody had something in the chat on that.
What happens with that? That's why. But I knew you were going to get there, so I just let it go.
Yeah. So whoever had that on the chat, you want to explain more about your situation if you had that happen?
Oh, that was me, Dan. No, you covered it well. I just wanted to make sure, because I've had it happen to me, and I think it probably happens to a lot of us, but doesn't always get called.
Yep. Yeah, that's why it's so important, guys, to take those warm-up pitches. And if you have the time when they bring in a new pitcher or a new catcher, especially new catchers, take the warm-up pitches and then watch that catcher, how she sets up. Does she drop a foot in the middle of the pitch? Does she like to stick her left foot out like a Manny Sanguine for all us old guys who love the pirate catchers? Right? You got to know that, because guess what? If she's like Manny Sanguine and the girl hits a dribbler and you need to get out from behind the plate, you better watch out for that foot or you're going to trip and fall. And it happens. So pay attention to the catchers, how they throw the ball, how they move. If you're trying to get to the first base line and you bump into her when the play's done, say, hey, you okay, catcher? She'll say yes. I got to get to that line. Hopefully that's the last time she's in your way, because she'll realize that, you know, she's impeding what you need to do. So that's it for interference. Anything I didn't go over that you want to go over? All right, let's talk obstruction. So one thing I like about our preseason guide are the points of emphasis. And I really like the two this year because they're important. One is obstruction that I'm going to talk about, and then David's going to talk about the obstructive view. But two important aspects of our game. So when you look at this definition of obstruction, you can see it's got a couple of those words that we love: hinders, impedes. Unless the fielder is in possession of the ball or is making the initial play. Can be intentional, unintentional, physical, or verbal. So in the spring season guide, make sure you read this multiple times. It does talk about the key point for obstruction. And we can take examples, and you guys may have put some in the chat already, but the key point, and it's always been this, but there's always people who say, oh, setup and straddle and trajectory of a throw. Here's the key point. For obstructing a runner, umpires need to understand the phrase impedes the progress of the runner or batter runner. If they are not impeded, there is no obstruction. That's it. And if your coach comes out and argues, here's your phrase: Coach, in my judgment, there was no impeding, there was no hindering, therefore there is no obstruction. Sounds simple when it happens like that on a big play at home plate, right? We got to take everything into account. But that's the bottom line, is if we don't have that impeding the progress of the runner, we don't have obstruction. So what's our mechanic for obstruction? Who wants to come off mute and tell me what you do when you see obstruction?
I can take this one.
Okay.
So left arm out.
Yep.
And generally point to where that obstruction happened so that people know.
Okay.
And you can verbalize it.
Yes. I think verbalizing, that's a good point, Eric. Thank you. I think verbalizing is important. You don't have to yell it. I don't yell it as loud as I yell dead ball. That's interference. But people need to know obstruction, right? So the shortstop hears you say obstruction, you know, or whatever runners or fielders you're closest to, just so that they know that you saw that. The interesting thing with obstruction awards, it's up to us, right? Girl steals second. She gets obstructed. Ball goes in the outfield. It just dribbles in the outfield, and the center fielder is right there. What's the third base coach going to do when he sees my arm out? Come to third, Jenny. Come to third. Well, guess what? I got her obstructed into second. I'm only awarding her second. Now she goes to third, gets thrown out by 30 feet. She was obstructed. Coach, that's not the rule, right? She's protected to that base. Now, if you feel like, she got taken out and the ball goes to center field all the way there, and you felt that she could have got to third, then you have the right to award her that base, but it's not automatic. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Another situation where you'll see that come into play is more on runner on second base, hit to the outfield. She gets tripped up by the shortstop. So now you have obstruction on the shortstop. And she rounds third and heads towards home. She gets thrown out at home. The thing is, if in your judgment, she was going to score on that hit, had she not been obstructed by the shortstop, you can award her a home for that. You would have her protected to home if your judgment says she was going to score on that base hit no matter what. So that's where you can also, give out an extra base on that.
Yep.
Hey guys, so when you do
go
your
ahead, Jim.
obstruction and you feel that way, let's say you have her protected in the second base stand. Once
Yes.
that protection ends, do you drop your arm?
I do.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you feel she may be awarded farther, you may keep it up, right? To let them know.
You can keep it up unless you need to officiate. I mean, remember,
Gotcha.
we need to officiate the play. It's not an immediate dead ball, right? It's a
Right.
delayed dead ball. So the problem with keeping your arm up is if you have to get somewhere else, you may have to drop it anyway. But semantically, it doesn't matter because
Okay.
you had it up. You can drop it when you want, but I will do that. Like in that play to second base, I drop it. I'm watching the play, getting in position. Yeah, there's no way I'm giving her third base. So when she gets tagged out here, she's going to be out. We can put the runner back on a base. So let's say we got a rundown between third and home, and she has already acquired third base. Thanks, honey. She's already acquired third base, but she's in rundown now, and maybe it's real close to third base, like she's gonna almost get back there, and she bumps into somebody and gets tagged. But in my opinion, she was going back to third. It's not an automatic that I'm giving her the base forward. You can put her back on the base that she had already gotten. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as like the halfway rule. Like, where's she at, right? And then make a judgment from there because it's still our judgment.
Yep.
It's the base that she would legally have obtained had the obstruction not occurred. So you're going to put her where she belongs.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit more on mechanics of obstruction, right? We've called obstruction. And now she gets tagged out, right? So what do, right? As soon as she gets tagged out, well, let's see if anybody wants to come off mute. So you've called obstruction, girl's going into a base, and she gets tagged out. What do you do?
You call dead ball.
Yep. So as soon as she's out, we got dead ball. Then what do you do, Jim?
Then you got to make your ruling,
Okay.
right? Whether you're going to award her what base you're going to award her, right?
Yep. Okay.
And
So here's how I would do it, guys. I would have dead ball. I would put my arm back up. That's obstruction. I'd have my left arm up, if you can see that. I'd point to it. That's obstruction. She's safe at second base or whatever the base is. Here's a caveat there. If you have other runners running, right, as a lot of times you will, that's where both you and your partner need to pay attention to where people are. Because again, we use the halfway rule. If they're already more than halfway to home, when that out happens, I'm letting her have home, right? If she's not quite halfway, please return to third base. So you got to officiate the whole play and you got to run it through your head. It's good to practice this sometimes when maybe you're watching a college game on TV, or just imagine yourself in that position, or maybe before your game at a travel game. If this happens, this is going to be my mechanic. You know what I mean? So when it does happen, you've already pre-pitched planned that or pre-game planned that. Any other questions on obstruction?
I was going to say to tailgate that caveat you had, Dan, is you're excited with that. Oh, I've got the obstruction. Oh, dead ball. She's going to be safe. Take your time with a hit. Dead ball. You don't have to give your immediate ruling right away. Scan the field.
Yep.
Make sure you know where the other runners are, because maybe your partner wasn't paying attention, didn't know for sure. It can fall on you. You're as a plate umpire. If you're making that call at the plate, you got the full view of the field. So just take your time and make sure you know where everybody is. Once you have it in your head where they were at, then say, I have obstruction on the catcher. This runner is safe. Runner, you go to second. Runner, you got third, or however it might be.
Yeah, and if you don't have a good view, or you get blocked or whatever, that is a time after you've called dead ball that you can get together with your partner. Hey, Dave, come on in. Hey, this is what I have. Did you see where that runner was? Right. Mm-hmm. So you get the call right, and you're only calling it once. And if you both agree, make the call like Dave said.
Right. That's the one where when you're calling dead ball, anytime you call dead ball, be loud and proud with it. Make sure everybody knows it's a dead ball at that moment. Because that way, if I'm on the bases and I hear Dan yelling dead ball, my eyes start scanning the field too.
All right. Anything else on obstruction? It's 8:15.
Okay, real quickly. Runners run. Okay, let's say you have a runner coming from second going to third. Third base interferes with the runner coming to third. You got a runner coming to second. Now, is that, you've got obstruction on the runner going to third. Is the runner on second guaranteed second base, or the runner going to second base, I should say, is she guaranteed second base since the obstruction happened at third?
Well, again, Neil, I think it depends on how far was she more than halfway? Could you tell that she was going to second, even though this play was being on her teammate at third base? That's where knowing where the runners are comes into play. And you get to decide that. If you feel like, hey, she was just barely off first, and then after you said dead ball, that's obstruction, that runner gets third, she takes off for second. You know what I mean? Or your partner sees she takes off for second. It's not automatic. You could say, please return to first base.
So she would return to first base if the obstruction happened at third base, as long as she wasn't more than halfway to second base.
Yes,
that's how she would be placed back at first.
That's how
she would be placed back at first. Okay. All right. Correct. I understand.
Yep.
Hey, Dan, I think also you get some questions of, say, that same play. You get obstruction of the girl going into third, but however, there's a play not at third. It's going into second, and the girl going from first to second gets tagged out.
So you had a obstruction on the girl going to third, you said?
Yeah. So she gets involved with the third baseman, but no play gets made there.
Yeah.
But the throw goes in the second, and they tag the girl out going into second.
Well, then I got the girl staying at third, and the girl at second is out.
Out, right? Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that's where he was going.
Yeah, I would drop my hand, my obstruction hand or whatever, and like, well, you had obstruction. Yeah, I had obstruction protecting her to third, and guess what, coach? That runner made it to third, but this trail runner did not make it to second. So she's out. Yep. All right. The next slide is an important slide also because the N in ion stands for nothing, right? And we talked about how important that is. Here's a couple of things what it does show, and most coaches really appreciate this. It shows that you saw the play and you judged the play, that you had nothing. You did not have interference, nor did you have obstruction. But here's what I would caution on. Pause. You don't need to come up right away, but pretty quickly after that play, you need to show. The problem with coming up too soon is that your partner may have a different angle of that. They'll say you're doing 3-man or even a 2-man, and he may have seen interference. He may have seen the ball touch the foot of the runner when you didn't. and you come up like this, and he's coming up like this, right? Then the coaches are going to wonder what's going on. So do pause a little bit, but that's the reason we give the safe sign, is so people see that you saw the play. Very important, this third point, and this has happened to me a while back. I'm kind of over this, but I forgot to officiate the rest of the play. Right, there was a play at another base, and I had to make the call from too far away. You know what I'm saying? So officiate the rest of the play. Don't get caught up, like David said, so excited that you make the call, but forget the rest of the play. And then be ready to explain with language to the coach. No impediment, no hindrance, no confusion. I don't have obstruction nor interference, coach. We have nothing. Any questions on that?
Not so much a question on that, but how would you handle situations where essentially you have to make two calls back to back, and one of them is the no call? Like, let's say you see something and it's a no call, but then the literal next thing is going to be you're going to have to, call something out. Like, how do you handle one of those types of situations? Do you just kind of let the no call go because in
Yep.
just a second you're probably signaling out so you don't confuse the crap out of everybody?
That's a good question. So I'm in the B slot. This has happened to me before. Probably has happened to other umpires. Grounder is second baseman. The runner on first runs in front of the fielder, but in your opinion, there's no interference. She's not hesitating. She's not clapping. She's just running, right? She's doing what she's supposed to do. I got a safe sign there because it was close enough. Fielder, second baseman gets the ball, throws to first. I pivot to first. I have an out at first. So usually there's enough time between that people understand the safe was for the initial play on the ball and the out was for the call at first. So that's how you would do it.
And some of that goes also on your positioning, because like what Dan said, he's going to be looking forward. He's going to give the safe sign that I've got nothing there. And then he's going to position himself looking towards first base to make that call. And that's whenever you put up your hammer, the out, there's two distinct spots that you were visualizing whenever you made those calls. So that's another piece of the optic that shows to other people that, okay, nothing there. We have an out here.
Thank you.
So Dave, we got about 8:20. Did you want to show any videos on interference obstruction?
Well, let's see if we can get your videos to play through here. Since we always have that kind of fun. Well, you can give this stuff away. Let's see if this one pops up. Is everybody able to see? Are you guys seeing the video?
No, I'm seeing the list of the runner interference examples.
Okay. So
what do you got?
What do you got? All right, let me stop sharing that screen and screw this up big time. Can you now see ball field?
Yes, we can see the ball field.
Hey, look at that. I finally got it right. Don't tell anybody.
I love this guy, by the way. He posts a lot of stuff, and I want to play on these fields where there's a mountain in the background and all that great crap.
Yeah, that does look sweet, doesn't it? Can you zoom in on that play, though?
Probably not.
I'm just kidding.
Well, dare I try theater mode, or do I look to screw it up? Well, let's see if what full screen looks like. Did everybody catch what the shortstop did?
Yeah, with the runner going past her. Go ahead and describe it, David, if you can.
No, we can-
Hey, cut in front of the runner and slowed her down.
Hmm. So what do you got?
Yeah, what do you got? What would be the thought? What's the different thought processes after seeing it from behind the shortstop? Would you call it obstruction or would you have called interference? I tell you what, hang on. Let's give
Oh,
it a
yeah.
shot here and see what the poll
Let's do
quiz
that quiz thing.
All right. Throw your votes in on your phones.
Oh, it's showing up on the screen for me.
If that works, then okay, cool.
Are you getting like a tally?
I am.
Okay.
Got 16 responses so far.
Nice.
All right. So we'll just 18 responses. We've got 11 people saying interference, 1 with obstruction, and 6 with nothing.
Okay.
So what's your thoughts, Dan?
Well, initially I thought nothing from the plate umpire's view, but when I saw the kind of the base umpire's view, there was definitely impediment there. You know, she kind of had to go around the runner. So I said interference.
Okay.
And then remember, there doesn't have to be contact. I think the shortstop could have done a better job of going directly to the ball, and then we would have had contact, and it would have been a lot easier to make the call.
Right.
But so that's my thinking, and know this, guys, this is a judgment. So not you poll 20 umpires, you're not going to get 20, of the same answer unless it's obvious, and this is not an obvious play.
Right. I mean, the other debate you could throw into this, playing devil's advocate, was she making an initial play on the ball? Yes, she had to go around to get to the ball. So again, just kind of watch how her position is. She's trying to go up. Batter runners or the runner's coming right across her. The ball's just now getting to the pitcher's circle. So
Yep.
she was going to have to take a longer route to get there as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think to David's point, I think you could argue that on her first move, she's thinking the pitcher's going to get the ball and she's moving to second. Then when the ball gets past the pitcher, she changes direction, but there's no impediment. She just took a long route.
Now, had that been again playing devil's advocate, that says Sharper hit ball more directly at her and she's coming in to get to the ball, then I'm going to say that is definitely going to be your interference piece. But because she kind of sidestepped to get around to get to where the ball was coming up the middle, you could maybe even argue obstruction. But there was no contact. So again, you could probably be safe on any one of the three, but just be ready to explain it.
Yeah,
That's
be
gonna
ready
the
to
big piece
explain
there.
it.
Be
Yeah.
ready to explain it.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the coaches are gonna say, hey, the pitcher had a chance to make a play, but the pitchers don't count.
Yeah, that's not the initial play. That's a good
That's
point.
not the initial play. So
Yep.
I had something similar to this in the Fenton Regional. And this girl goes to make the shortstop. There's a ball getting hit up the middle. The pitcher doesn't even get a glove on it. She goes almost a similar angle. The runner starts running, sees him, and the runner stands straight up.
Mm.
You know, like they almost scared each other. And I kill it. And the first argument that's made from the Fenton coach was there was no contact. Well, then I know he didn't know the rule. So
Yeah.
I called interference on something similar to that play.
Okay.
Can you argue for nothing this one as well? If you could argue that, like, well, the shortstop stops and go around.
Right. Had the shortstop gone and continued right through the runner, then I'm 100% going to call interference on that runner because she blocked her way to get through. So because of the shortstop's actions can kind of nullify, again, just you know,
You just need, so either way, you could argue those. You just need to explain why.
just be ready to explain your decision as to why you didn't call it or you did call it.
Right.
Before you get to the ball, turn it. Wow. That's the farthest run I've ever hit. The best way to for the Hawks.
Starting to get the hang of this. Everybody got the play up on the screen?
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah.
All right.
Up next is Stoltz, top of the lineup. Now, this is where you want to get your outs.
We got announcers.
Looking for two here. They get one, and they hit the runner with the ball, and now it's going to allow Zihak to get to second base. Anzalone is out. Yeah, they're going to say she's got to get out of the
I think we all know what the answer to this one is.
Just ran right into the throw. You look at this right here. There's a great angle right here. She goes into second base. It just runs right into it. Said she should be out. Should be out. And Coach
Almost got
Talon
knocked out.
the official. And there was no attempt to slide whatsoever. It's not like it was a half attempt and she got down on the slide late. There was no attempt there at all to slide.
Ooh.
No attempt to slide.
She's lucky she didn't get hurt.
Discussion here.
All right. So Dad's iPhone got to go, guys. Thanks, Dave and Dan. All right.
You're welcome.
Take it easy, guy.
Got obstruction or interference, and you got a retired runner, so the runner closest to home's out. So that's a double
Correct.
play.
Right.
Very good. Get that coach out of there. Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, she might be cute. I don't know.
Not that cute. Can't have that.
Oh, that's right. We're being filmed here.
That's right. Watch
Record
what
it.
you say.
Stop,
Just like
stop laughing, Roger Jackson.
Okay, so no runner on third, then it would be a full double play,
Correct.
correct?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. The batter runner would be called out.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see.
Hmm. Let's do one more, Dave, and then we should spend time on your unobstructed view.
Okay.
Unless you want to do that next week.
In a way, I'm kind of thinking we're having such a great conversation, everything around this. Let's just stick with the
I agree.
interference obstruction.
And you
not
got the
looking
videos to
at
work
these
too.
videos. All right, let's see.
Do you want to do my video or are you saving that for last?
Well, I'm going to get there. That's where I'm heading to at some point. I just need to get over to here. No, I do want to show yours. But I need to save it. Okay. So do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Still
Here we
seeing the
go, Eric.
screen? Do you see the video?
Yes.
All right, just gonna let it play through at first. Well, at least get to the one point, and it's a little grainy, but you'll get the good gist of it. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because we don't need to see the whole thing. We just need to see the action. So pop up, foul territory, and crash bang.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, we'll go through that again. And before we get into any conversation about it, I'm going to do the poll piece again, see what everybody thinks.
Okay. Where did the ball end up?
In foul territory, you can see it laying there right now.
Oh, so close to the fence, right? It didn't land where it
It
is
didn't
right
land
now.
there. No.
Okay.
I mean, you see the catcher going after it.
Yeah.
Exactly how far to the right of the catcher it goes, not sure because she just disappears. So did the ball go far, far over? Hard to say.
Okay.
Let's get our poll quiz going. And give it a vote. And even if you're not sure, just go ahead and answer something. We're going to discuss all the different options on it and why people chose what they chose. I don't know who's answering what and, that kind of thing. So, all right.
I'm
So
pretty sure the home plate umpire didn't see anything because he was looking straight up in the air.
you picked up on that too, huh? All right. So we've got 5 of 18 say interference, 1 of 18 say obstruction, and 12 of 18 say nothing. So the majority are saying there's nothing there. All right. So those that say interference, what would be your justification on saying interference on the batter runner?
I'll lead it off since I threw this in there. So I see three defensive players going after the ball, the catcher, first base, and the pitcher. And although we can't see where the ball is, I am not protecting the pitcher here as far as the person who's going to be the player that makes the catch. So I can't call obstruction because she's not my protected player. The collision happens then, so that means there's interference in my mind. Now, what I also would want to finish with here is the ball was in foul territory. We don't know whether the ball gets caught or not. It looks like it doesn't get caught because the umpire doesn't signal that. So at that point, you have a foul ball So you'd be putting the batter back up to bat, and that would negate the interference in my mind.
So you're on your side of saying there was nothing there. It was just a collision.
Ultimately, yes.
Okay.
So you don't have interference.
Well, I was taking you through the progression of what I
Right.
saw in the play. And
Okay.
at one point, yes, there is interference there, but the foul ball would negate that because that supersedes the situation.
Yeah,
But
I
would
would.
she interfered on making a play on a foul ball? Could she have made the play on the foul ball?
The pitcher? No, it doesn't look like it from this video.
Right. Well, and that's where, it's because the ball's out of our screenshot, but she is attempting to make a play on that ball.
Agreed. I didn't see anything malicious on it.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing malicious about this one, for sure.
So let me just say this. So, and that's not a bad explanation, Eric. So when we explain to coaches, right, we have to be careful that we don't say too much. Less is definitely more. My explanation would be good hustle by your pitcher, right? But that's a softball incidental contact play. She was not going to get to the ball. So I don't have interference, coach. Right now, if the batter runner had come and, ran into the catcher, who looked like she may have been a little closer to the ball, then maybe I have something different. But that's why I put nothing.
And obstruction's pretty much off the table because there wasn't an opportunity for her to be safe because it was a foul ball.
Right.
So, I could see potentially calling interference depending upon how high the ball was hit. Did she really have an opportunity to make a play on it? Again, because of the video, it's hard to say that she was interfered with making a play. Even if she were to be able to make a play, most likely that play is going to be made by the catcher because that's more of her territory. So yeah, I would think, yeah, you've got nothing but a really nasty collision on that one. But you could make a case for a potential interference just based off of, could she have made a play?
Right.
That's something that we don't know and can't definitively say from this video.
Yep.
Anybody else have any other thoughts as far as it being interference? I know
I
we've
voted
kind of
interference.
played it down, but
Sorry. I voted interference because I wasn't sure if her ability to get to the ball had any bearing on the call. But if the judgment was it was 30 feet away from the spot of the interference, I can understand why it would be nothing.
exactly.
Okay.
That's kind of, I think, why the discussion we're having. But absolutely, I mean, had that ball been where it's laying right now on the screen, and that's where it landed, and you had that collision between the pitcher and the batter runner, I think I would be inclined to call that interference with the ball being that close and still
Agreed.
high in the air. So yeah, again, it's going to be a matter of being ready to explain what you got.
Well, and again, we could also, you got a foul ball. You can also go, hey, I'm going to talk to my partner. And
Right.
You can still have a discussion before you make any determination. So
Absolutely. Good point, Jim.
Yeah, and I liked how Eric said he would not call malicious contact. I wouldn't either on that one, but I would say be ready for players from either side to not like that their player got run over, and keep your eyes on those players because you never know when the first baseman's going to take umbrage with the batter runner, right, or something like that. So it's a good thing to stay focused on that.
And that's when you got to use the magic words, in my judgment.
Yep.
Absolutely. Because that takes care of a lot of things. In my judgment, I can't argue that. All right. Let's see.
The Terrier group's going now, in case anybody's wondering.
Are you able to see the screen now, the video?
The dome.
So you're seeing the video.
Yes.
All right. Situation. Trying to remember here correctly. We've got gonna have a play at the plate. I believe we have runners on first and third. Runner at first attempting to steal. Throw ends up coming back into home. And again,
Do we know the count?
what was it? No balls, one strike. I'll play it again, and then we'll do a vote. Kind of like this vote piece.
It is cool.
All right. Have at it. All right. So we've got 1 vote for interference, 2 votes for obstruction, and 14 for nothing. So those that are saying obstruction, why are you thinking obstruction? Just I'll play the video one more time. Okay. So who wants to take obstruction as the potential answer for this?
Well, I would say when you look at it, I look at the setup. That's usually where I look. First of all, I like the positioning of the umpire getting to the third baseline extended to see the swipe tag or potential for a swipe tag. So the catcher's on the plate without the ball. That's the initial setup. But then I see her with the ball and making the swipe tag. In my opinion, I put nothing because she did not impede the progress of the runner until she had the ball. Right there, she's got the ball, right? So I could see where, initially you might think it's going to be obstruction.
She doesn't have the ball yet. Not yet. Not yet. There it's coming.
Yeah.
Now she's
That's a close one. I mean, if you think if that impeded the runner, then maybe you do have obstruction.
Any other thoughts? This is
Yeah,
just open. This is just open conversation, guys.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, adding on to that, you can see that runner kind of veer to her right as she sees the catcher come over the plates, right? Which now brings in hindering the runner, altering her path.
Did she do that, altering her path before or after the catcher had the ball?
Before. So if you go back a couple ticks, you'll see her on the line, and then you'll see her purposely move to her right. Now, granted, it's a bang bang play. You're probably not going to see it with this granularity, but
Well, that's a
definitely
college
not
game,
gonna
so
see
like
it.
that's a college game. I can definitely see why he didn't call obstruction now, because the throw brought her there.
Well, actually, in the college game, that doesn't matter anymore. Not this year. Last year, not this year.
Yeah, they keep changing.
Wait, the throw can't.
The throw
That
has
wasn't. That
the
question
throw
wasn't
has
on my
nothing to
test
do with the
today.
move. It's the movement of the cat. It's the movement of the player now. Doesn't matter why they moved. It's their movement. So
Yeah, then in high school, again, we have to determine, did it impede the progress of the runner? And so to Vince's point, yeah, I could see where you say, yeah, she moved a little to the right, but it being a bang bang play, I don't know in real time if I would call this obstruction.
Does it matter that the catcher doesn't have the whole plate block? I mean, there's plenty of plate for the runner to go to.
Usually when you're on top of the plate, people take exception to that. If you're straddling it, somebody mentioned straddle earlier. Straddle, that's fine. You're giving them access to the plate.
Yeah. So after she moves her foot off the plate, I think she's giving access. That's why I
Yeah,
had nothing. But
and she gets the ball pretty soon after that too. So,
And we don't have the best angle. So when
No.
that guy moves around, he's got a pretty good angle to determine how much movement, if he felt, and maybe he didn't feel there was enough. So he just called her safe.
Yeah, and not to
So
pick on
again-
the plate umpire, but he also got himself kind of straight line behind the catcher. So he didn't have a great view either.
well, he is third base extended.
let's take a look at where they end up here.
Starts at point of plate, works the wedge. The catcher kind of moves in front of him, but I think he can still see the batter's foot or the runner's foot and the plate. It's a good tag.
Why
Yeah, that
didn't
left
she
foot.
slide?
Yeah,
But yeah, again, be ready to explain yourself as to what you saw, what you observed, and in your judgment, the runner deviated. Therefore, I have obstruction on the catcher. Or there was no deviation and no hindering, therefore she's out.
and here's something on this play, guys. So the plate umpire makes this call. If he had a base umpire, he'd be out somewhere, probably in the C slot or something. Don't let a coach come out and say, hey, that's obstruction. That's interference. You got to go ask your partner, right? If you have all the elements in front of you here, you shouldn't be asking anybody, especially if you're calling obstruction, because it's a judgment call, right? So in this case, I wouldn't go ask my partner for help. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, but when she catches the ball, she's got her foot on the plate, and then there she's got her foot on the plate. Now she moves her foot off. It goes to the front corner of the plate. So isn't she actually blocking home plate?
At this point in time, you would consider this and could consider this illegal, an illegal setup. Because
Yes.
she is blocking the front part of the plate without the ball.
Yes. But the runner did go to the back side, so it would deviate blockage of the plate.
Well, again,
could you
she
fight
kind of
back
took a
and-
step towards the back. Again, bang bang play. It's a judgment. Okay, did she truly deviate? I mean, the other thing is she came in standing up. She wasn't sliding, she wasn't moving her base path.
Yeah, that's a weird slide right there.
Yeah, she wasn't sliding, she wasn't trying to get around, she didn't deviate to get around. She kind of ran through the player. or ran through the tag. But again, based on your judgment, based on what you're seeing, I mean, I totally see what you're saying, Vince, as far as, she did take 1 or 2 steps, so she deviated with that. So again, just kind of things to look at, things to consider, and just be ready to explain what your call is. And we're getting really close on time. I'm going to throw one more video out. And actually, this one is not even, it's just a play at the plate, more on the positioning, working the wedge.
We can't see your screen.
So go with that one more time.
We can't see your screen right now, Dave.
Oh, sorry. I thought I had that up. You got to play now?
Yep.
Again, there's obviously no obstruction interference issues here. It's just more of working that wedge and getting the best view of the play coming in.
Yeah, it's a good setup by the catcher there. Put it in front of the plate.
So kind of take it through in slow motion, as slow motion as I can get. So, like Dan said, great setup, perfect setup in front of the plate. Receives the ball. Umpire moving into position. You can see where the tag is on this one. Any thoughts or comments on the umpire and his whole mechanic piece and how he made that call? Any
I think
thoughts?
he can get into trouble making a call while on the move. I maybe would have stopped a step away and just to get myself set so that my eyes are set, my head is set.
Okay. It's fair.
Exactly my thought as well, especially considering I was the one who made the call. I felt myself personally, I was moving too much during as well, not so much after, but definitely during. Right there. Like you said, Sam, that would have been a perfect spot for me to stop, hit that call, and then continue my move in front of home plate. But working that wedge, working that position, definitely remember that. Take your time, stop, get your camera set, and then hit your call. So, gentlemen, great discussion tonight. I think tonight's meeting went really, really well. Any comments, any last thoughts or questions? We got 4 minutes left on our supposed time frame, but we can obviously go more, but I don't want to keep anybody longer than we already have.
And let me just say this. If you can get video of yourself doing a game like either that Elk Grove game or Dave's games in the Dome, get video of yourself. I had my kid film me once, just to see your mannerism. Am I touching my mask too much? Right? What am I doing? If you can find film of yourself, it's a great tool to learn. So I would challenge you to find that somewhere this year so you can see yourself and improve where you want.
And just as a sidebar, it'll come out in the email, But next week's session is on Wednesday night, not Tuesday. It'll be Wednesday night at 7. Only because I have a basketball game that I'm giving a book for. So it'll be Wednesday the 11th.
All right.
So anything else? Any other thoughts, comments?
No, great meeting. Really appreciate it, you guys. That was awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate seeing all you guys here, man. We'll
Yeah.
see you next week.
Thank
Spread
you
the
so
word.
much.
Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. David, I'm going to hang on a couple minutes.
Okay.